Hello and welcome to the Punk Wrestling Podcast. I am RM Punk and today is the day where I shit all over Raw. Like every Tuesday. No. Let's get serious. It was okay. This was a fine episode for Raw considering what Raw has been. There was some good bits, there were some bad bits. The beginning of the show was good, the end of the show was good, the middle was crap. Let's get to it, shall we? We started off with a recap of Lashley and Miz from last week, everything that happened last week, and we are running it back this week. It is Miz versus Lashley again tonight. So we start off with a Lashley interview. Lashley is a happy man, he has been through a lot, but he's not a normal man. The obstacles that have been thrown his way over the 16 years of other people getting shots, politics, all this, he's got through it all, and he is now the almighty champion. He's going to make an example out of Miz tonight. The area of the almighty has begun. This was a very good promo from Lashley. Lashley doesn't talk a lot, and, you know, it's not his strongest suit, but this was good from him, and it was simple and to the point. The Miz is out next. He's out in the ring, and he's empty-handed. He expected to get his ass kicked last week by Lashley, but he did not expect to lose the title. After all he has done for the company, when he says he doesn't feel well, people should believe him. You know, he doesn't take days off and all this. He defended his title last week. He got counted out. Yes, it's in the rule books, so he followed the rules. He played to his advantage, championship advantage. He outsmarted everyone by getting counted out. In his contract, he stated that he had to defend his title. Didn't say he had to defend it twice. But, you know, he defended it. But he was forced to defend it twice in one night. Threatened that the title would be forfeited if he didn't. And it's just unfair. Lashley brutalised him and he's not getting any punishment. Tonight, he gets his rematch. He calls out the IWC here, sort of get on your Twitter, you know, because tonight there will be a new champion. Why are we having a rematch tonight? Why? What was the point? It demolished The Miz last week. There was no reason for this. There's no automatic rematch clause, or there shouldn't be. So why is he getting a rematch? However, you know, put that to one side. You know, all right, we get the match, and it is next. This was nice in the way that it was literally promo, match. You know, it wasn't all the way through the match, all the way through the Raw, we're getting bits and bobs, and then we get the match. It was each person has something to say, and then they have a fight. And that works. It's kind of sporty in that way. So I was okay with this. The Almighty has a new entrance package. It's kind of like a video before the entrance, which is nice. A few extras in there, some gold lightning even. There's lighting and lightning. The highlight package, and no issues for me. This is very much a championship entrance. It's a big entrance, and it's good. The match starts, and Miz is running. Lashley takes over, and we're still going to a break. Drew is looking like he's going to be challenging Bobby next. This match was longer than it needed to be, if I was honest. And the Hurt Lock does end it, and still champion Lashley. This was a fine match. Like I said, maybe went a little longer than it needed to, considering how weak The Miz has been booked as of late and how strong Lashley has been booked. However, it was still alright. The chemistry wasn't quite there in some places for me, but, you know, fine. You know, alright way to start Raw. Interviewing Drew, who was watching backstage, and he says he is the only challenger for Lashley. Lashley attacked him after all he'd been through at the Elimination Chamber, just to give Miz the championship so that Lashley could beat The Miz. Drew should not be slept on. He beat Brock Lesnar. You know, he is coming for Bobby. He's dangerous as well. Sheamus then attacks Drew. This isn't over. He's been in Drew's shadow all this years. He's going to make his life miserable. Fine. Drew tells Pierce to book him and Sheamus in a no DQ match tonight, which he does. We get a first of a couple Rhea coming soon moments. Just get the coming soon. Give me a date. I want to know when. Just do it. Yeah, we get the recap of the Shane Braun bollocks from last week. And then Truth is with Braun and starts talking about Space Jam, that Bugs Bunny has joined the Monstars and he needs his own Monstar. He apologises for digging a tunnel under the Thunderdome, and some more other silly bollocks. Braun sort of says, I don't need an apology from you, what are you talking about? And starts saying his own thing. He's going to go out and demand that Shane apologises. He wants an apology off of Shane. And he's going to demand an apology off of Shane. And Truth's like, okay, no worries. Then gets out a clicky pen and does the Men in Black thing where puts the glasses on and clicks the pen. Fine. What? Yeah. So Braun's out and he's asking Shane what his motivation for all this. What is he? Is it all a joke to you? Is he laughing at me? You know, he could snap Shane's neck like a twig, but he doesn't want to get fired. He wants some respect. Come out here and give me an apology. Shane comes out, gets in Braun's face, says, I apologise, and then walks off. On the stage, he gets on the mic and he doesn't say anything and walks off. Okay, there's more to this later, which is just as bad, if not worse. So we'll get to it. Shane's backstage. Says, yes, he does have something to say. And then says, no, actually he doesn't. And so why? What? We get another rematch from last week. But, you know, I'm pleased about this one. It's Sheamus versus Drew. And this is next. Before the match even gets underway, Drew attacks Sheamus prior to her entrance. These guys kicked 7 shades of shit out of each other. If you see the state of their backs, as you can, hopefully at one of these sides. I haven't worked out which side I'm putting this on. But yes, there was kendo sticks, there was chairs, steel step spots. Sheamus gets the first whack with the old kendo stick. There was a double fish hook. There was more kendo stick spots. This is a fight. Like I said, if you don't believe me, check out the aftermath of these two men. Chair, there was a future sock onto the chair. There's a claymore to Sheamus, but Sheamus rolls out the ring. Drew goes after him and eats a bro kick. They then get the steps, and each of them gets a steel steps, and they put them up against their, over their heads, right in front of their face, and they run into each other with the steps. Each of them getting knocked out by the steel steps. And the ref calls it a no contest, as neither men are able to compete. I like this. It's obvious I like this. This was a fight. But it does make me worry how they're going to top this when they actually get to a pay-per-view match. They've had 2 really good matches. It feels like they're giving it all away. They don't really have a plan with where they're going with this story. So they're just having matches because the matches are good. Are we getting too much of a good thing early, and then when the match comes out, it'll fizzle out? But I still enjoyed it. We are now halfway through a 3-hour show, and it's been 2 matches. But this was a good half of the show. Now we get to the second half, and, you know, my positivity may go out the window here. We get more replays after the break as to what happened. Why not? And then we get a recap of the Orton Fiend storyline all the way back from TLC through everything that Alexa has done since, because we needed reminding of everything that's happened. We get a new interviewer, Kevin Patrick, the Irish interviewer. He interviews AJ, and AJ's he asks AJ a question, and AJ's, no, we're going to talk about Randy, aren't we? That's how this works. We talk about Randy. It's all ridiculous. Randy comes in, asks if this is funny to him, and AJ says it's not funny, it's weak. Randy challenges AJ, and AJ accepts. AJ says that he's losing it. Next up, we get Sub-Zero and Scorpion versus Shelton Benjamin. No, sorry, it's The New Day in a wonderful Mortal Kombat inspired gear, and it is Woods versus Shelton. We find out next week it's The New Day versus Hurt Business for the tag team titles. They completely dropped that Ali versus Kofi storyline, didn't they? This was a decent TV match. Shelton got a lot of offense in, but Shelton and Kofi are jawjacking, and that leads Woods to hit the small package for the win. We have a little backstage promo with Riddle as he's in Gorilla, waiting for his match against Slapjack, and he says he's not worried about retribution, but what he is worried about is where to park his scooter. Kofi and Woods come into Gorilla but from their match, and they ask if he's down for a bit of COD later, so they're going to play some Call of Duty later, and they will look after the scooter. There was plenty more stuff about Slapjack and some rhymes and this, that and the other. This was all too silly for me, but it wasn't the worst segment Riddle has been part of, mainly because New Day Rock. Riddle versus Slapjack. This was a good match, much better than it should be. It's Riddle versus Ali for the US Championship next week. Little question, why are we having all these title matches just before the pay-per-view? Can't we have them at the pay-per-view? Or are we keeping... I don't, Alright, fine. But yeah, Ali is jaw-jacking throughout this match. Slapjack got quite a fair amount of offense in here, but Riddle does win with the Bro Derek in a decent match. It's like they sort of got together before the match and says, yes, we've got all this silly bollock gimmick stuff, but shall we just have an actual match? And they did. After the match, Ali tells Slapjack to stop embarrassing him, continues the trend of giving them shit when they lose. We get a recap of the Shane Braun segment that we had previous, and Shane is with Adam, and Adam asks if there is something else he wants to say to Strowman, and Shane says yes, he does have something he wants to say. Brings Strowman out to the ring. This was weird. Just straight up weird. Shane is acting weird, he's tapping on the mic, breathing weird, walking away from the ring, tripping over his words, saying he has fun, but that's okay, it's for his benefit. He asks Braun to relax. Doesn't know if he can talk to Braun about this. He needs to come to an understanding with you. He wouldn't come out here to make you look stupid. Braun is upset with him and he understands this. But he wouldn't say that stupid is as stupid does, and you've fallen from the stupid tree and hit all the branches. It's not me saying these things. Hear me out. I wouldn't say this, Braun, and runs off. And it looks like he drives out the arena. Okay, but no, he didn't leave. And as Braun chases after the car or whatever, Shane's like, he's so stupid. Just why? Someone tell me why. All right. Next up, we get a little promo for International Women's Day. Celebrate the women. Then we get a recap of my whole moment, because that's how we celebrate women. We have a women's tag team title match, Lana and Naomi versus Shayna and Nia. Okay, they finally get their title match. They've already announced at Fastlane it's Nia and Shayna versus Bella and Sasha, but they get their title match. It could all change, of course. But accompanying Nia and Shayna today is Reginald. Yes, Reginald is out, and Shayna is not happy about it. She's just like, really? Fuck's sake, I've just had enough. I don't blame her. Nia says she knows her way around a fine glass of wine, and isn't he cute? Wonderful. Naomi and Lana get most of this match, to be fair, but they get some good tag team offense in and was in control for most of the match. But good old Reggie gets involved, and it ends up with Nia hitting the choke bomb for the win, and Nia carries Reggie out on her shoulder. There was no shocks here. As I said, the title match has already been announced for Fastlane. It was okay. Do we need Reginald in this? I like Reggie, I do, but I'm getting tired of it now. Next up, Mandy and Dana cut a promo about their ambition for the Raw Women's title match, that they want Asuka too. Why does Charlotte get it and all this? Charlotte comes out and is like, prove it. Show me what you've got. You've got 5 weeks. Alright, so that was all the women's segments just boxed in there. Next up, main event time. It is AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Quick question, where is AJ heading up for WrestleMania? What's his road to WrestleMania? What do you think? Because he's been booked really strong consistently throughout. He hasn't lost many singles matches at all. I think the only one he's lost in recent time was against Daniel Bryan by DQ. So, but he doesn't have an obvious road to WrestleMania. He's just been booked strong. Like, he could be in any picture. He hasn't got a story, really. But before this match gets underway, we get a long recap of the Bobby Lashley title match that we had at the beginning of the show. Pretty much showing the entire thing. Don't know why. Okay, so Randy was aggressive early, a lot more pacey than normal, which was nice. Styles ducks out of an RKO early on. Randy hits the announce table back suplex at one point, and Amos distracts Randy by just simply being there, by existing, which leads to a phenomenal forearm on the outside of the ring to go to break, and AJ is in control, back from break, focusing on that leg. Orton gets a comeback with a power slam and backbreaker, and AJ is bleeding from the mouth at this point. Calf crusher by Styles, but is broken up. Randy hits the draping DDT. He's looking for the RKO, setting it all up, and Amos just pulls AJ out of the ring, and then Alexa is on the Titantron with her inside her little pentagram with her Jack in the Box, and she starts turning it, and then she goes, not yet. She then lights a match, blows it out, and the ring gets the Kane pyro treatment. Black ooze starts coming out of Randy's mouth, and he heats the phenomenal forearm to give Styles the win, and Alexa is laughing as we close the show. You know what? This was fine. Like I said, for an episode of Raw, this is probably above average, which is saying something. The middle to end portion was terrible. Sheamus versus Drew was fire. Yeah, let me know what you thought. Have a good day. Share, like, subscribe. Peace, love, good night.